So I'm just going to go over some basic tips for drawing and show you some things that I use to develop my skills and to help me practice. So let's get into it.
If you can draw a stick man, you can draw. Obviously, when I say this I don't mean stop at the stick man, but it is a good place to start if you don't normally draw, or if you are struggling to begin a drawing. Like always, I start off my drawings with the head of the character, a line for the spine down for the chest, and then marking the hips and the shoulders, then the legs and arms. Once you've figured out the pose, from there you can add to your drawing. One of the benefits of this technique is that you can make adjustments as you go. In other words, if you mess up, you can fix it. Remember to draw lightly. Once you've figured out the proportions, you can add the muscles next. But we want to know what the figure is doing first. If their arms are too long, you can make them shorter. Where should the knees come and the elbows be? Halfway. Halfway down the legs and arms. So this should give you a good marker to tell if the measurements are correct. Remember to step back from your drawing so you can see any mistakes. It's always good to take a break. Once you feel that the stick man is in the right place, you can add the details over the top. This is another reason why we draw lightly first. Try different emotions when you draw. It's always interesting that you can tell something's wrong with a family member or a friend just by looking at their posture. Same goes for drawings. If you want the viewer to know how the character feels, the pose is a key part of it, just like the expression on their face. So if I drew someone who's really happy, they might have their arms in the air, jumping for joy. This is just practice, so try not to be a perfectionist. I personally am a perfectionist, so this is a good exercise for me too. Be sketchy with it and make adjustments as you go, each time starting with your stickman. Think about how the character feels. Are they sad, excited, in a rush? Because we're focusing on the pose, don't worry about the detail of the hands or feet. Keep it simple. And even if you get it wrong, you'll learn from it. You'll always learn something from it. Try to fill up the whole page with this exercise. Make the poses big. Let them stretch out over your page. And don't worry if they overlap. Just focus on the pose you're currently drawing. If you need to use different pens or pencils, felt tips or chalk, that's fine. Use whatever makes you feel comfortable. And maybe try different colours for each pose. This makes it easier to see each pose, but also it might be pretty when you look at the whole page together. But don't worry, you don't have to make it colourful if you don't want to. You can keep it professional just by doing the same colour with different poses. Really, the stickman is a simplified skeleton. Everybody has one, so it's always easy to keep it simple with a stickman. It would be the same if you were going to draw an animal, or a fish, or even a bird. Today we are just focusing on drawing a human being. It's always good to use your time well, and doing an exercise like this is a good use of that time, especially if you have nothing else to do. seeing if you can draw something out of your head and making the proportions correct is a good exercise, as well as figuring out how a person would stand in a certain pose, where their weight would be, or if you're just trying to draw different ages. For me, I struggle with drawing men because I'm female, so my instinct is to draw females rather than men. So that's one exercise that I'm working on personally. So this is a good opportunity for you to work on drawing something that you might not want to draw. So think about if you were in that pose. This is something that I do a lot. If I'm trying to draw a ballerina, I would think, where would their arms be? You know, they wouldn't be slumped. You know, they would have their arms stretched out, strong and confident and delicate. Right now, I'm drawing a guy who works in an office, and he's clearly on his break, and he's waiting for a decision to be made by someone higher up. So I'm making up a random story to go with this character that I'm drawing. And he's got his tie and his shirt hooked in, and his sleeves are rolled up. But he might be nervous about this decision. So I've got him here with his hands in his pockets, and he's waiting outside, maybe to cool his nerves. And he's just kicking a can around. Might be in the car park. You know, just trying to chill his nerves. And you've got to think about, once you've drawn your stick man, you draw the muscles, and then you draw perhaps the clothes on top. So far, I've only done the poses themselves. This drawing, I've drawn the character with clothes on to tell the story of this character. If it's too much for you to think about the clothes as well, don't worry. I am intending on doing a video about how to draw clothes on characters. But today, we are just focusing on the stickman and how to express a pose from something as simple as lines on a piece of paper. Remember to take your time when you're drawing. This is not a rush, this is just an exercise. And just like you would go for a jog around the neighborhood, we are just exercising your muscles. How you recognize posture, how you use your pencil or pen or chalk, how you can imagine a character and put them onto paper. This is just an exercise to stretch your muscles. And as someone who's been drawing for many, many years, I can tell you that your hands will hurt if you're drawing for too long, because it's not just picking up a pen, it is also the muscles in your hands. And some people can even draw without hands. So nothing can stop you from drawing. Remember the tips that I've given you today. Take your time, draw your stickman. If it's not in the right position, remember to draw lightly so that you can go back and you can adjust those mistakes. And if you can recognize those mistakes, you are already getting better, because that's how everyone learns. If you get it right automatically, how are you going to learn? So congratulations to you if you've made a mistake, because you're already much better than other people who believe that they're amazing and that they don't need to practice, because even athletes need to practice all the time. You have done an amazing job today. Let's see what you can do. Why don't you take 5 minutes or 10 minutes maybe. 10 minutes might be a better time. And let's see what you can do. I mean, I already know you're going to do amazing. So, no pressure.
Thank you for joining me today. I hope that the tips that I gave you were helpful, and I hope that they helped you develop your skills. That you made something pretty practical and you can use these in the future. And if you like this and you want to see more, then subscribe so that you can know when YouTube has another video waiting for you from me, with care.